he is actually the first person to study trichology in East and Central Africa. So that is something exciting. I'll give you time to give yourself a brief introduction before we carry forward with the interview.
All right, it's always difficult to introduce oneself, but my name is Muli Musioka. IAT means I'm a member of the International Association of Trichologists. Yeah, and I trained in trichology in the year 2009-2010, and it was quite a new subject. By the time I was graduating, I think I was the only person in sub-Saharan Africa to do that. Yeah, and since then I got into the business of restoring hair loss. Of course, I've had a bit of experience, 13 years of experience in hair care, managing hair care products, and analyzing the quality of hair care products. And then I got into hair restoration because I saw that's where the gap was. People are losing hair. Nobody seems to understand what's happening, why they are losing hair. Basically, I saw an opportunity and I got into it.
Okay, so I'm sure someone who's watching is wondering, what is trichology? You know, we're usually used to the law, medicine, all these mainstream careers, but you did not stumble upon trichology. So how did you come about learning about trichology?
I did, I mean, when I was young, I did hairdressing. I did hairdressing, and I worked in the salon, and I really realized that there was a lot of science behind hair. Of course, most of us understand the artistic aspect of hair, going to the salon, cutting it, coloring it, and getting a few things going and looking good and all that. But there's a lot of scientific explanation behind every behavior or change in the hair. And when you do hairdressing, there's something that is taught in hairdressing school which speaks to hair loss, and they call it trichology. It's actually like just in naming what really types of hair loss are there. And after school, I wanted to know exactly what is this issue called trichology, and what brings about hair loss, and what are the different therapies that we can have to fix the problem, if not permanently, at least to manage it properly. And I went scouring in the internet, and there was nothing like that in Kenya or in Africa being taught. The places that were giving the subject matter was in UK, United States, and in Australia. And I enrolled in Australia, and it took me 2 years to go through the course. I went to Australia, did a lot of training, and some experienced trichologists. And then after that, we did other things like understanding hair transplants and many other therapies that would be used to recover hair in cases where you've lost hair permanently. So yeah, it was just an issue of really looking for something. I was hungry to be the best. And I knew for me to be the best, I had to do something that would make me an authority when I talk about the subject.
So you said that it is not done in Africa, which is something I actually resonate with, because I can't remember the last time I walked into a supermarket and bought a Kenyan product. It's usually all these products that come from abroad. People market it through celebrities, you know.
with the experience, experience is not what happens to a man, but what a man does with what happens to them. If you have accumulated 50 years of doing the wrong thing, it will never make it right. It will just mean that you accumulated 50 years of doing it wrong way. There's a lot of science behind every product development. Of course, there are very many people now saying, I'm going into the kitchen and putting together a concoction and using it on my hair and all that. But there are global formulations. Like there's a way of coming up with something. If it is something called a shampoo, there is a global formulation that gives you the bare minimum of putting together a product like that. And many other products that will be needed today for taking care of your hair or helping you in styling your hair and stuff like that. But I think the reason why we do not compete globally in many African countries is because we get very comfortable with okay. But I think that is something that is changing, and I want to encourage young people who always believe that you have to be employed, and have nothing wrong against being nothing against being employed. But we need to start thinking as creators, as people who can create things and create things on a global scale. If you travel a bit, you realize that there's nothing so special about those people in the US or in other parts of the world. But you realize that maybe we just look down upon ourselves and respect them too much. But we have everything that we need. And I'm happy to say we're seeing a lot of change, and particularly in product. There's a lot of products now and good quality products that are coming up, and they're being designed by local chemists, and they're being put together by local labs, and they're working well. Having said that, yes, we still have a lot of products in the market that do not meet the standards, that are not good enough to be used by the consumer today. Of course, there are challenges like production cost and all that. But at the end of the day, that is changing. When I did trichology, there was people used to ask me, do you teach kids how to cycle bikes? But today, my center has been was actually the first center to be approved in Africa to train people on clinical training. After it's like an internship in medicine. So after you've done all your correspondence training and theoretical training, then you can have hands-on in our center. So there's a lot that is changing in the hair industry. There's a lot of research that is going into place. Consumers are now demanding more. They're demanding more quality product. They're more exposed because of things like social media, the internet. Consumers can actually demand better quality products, and people are taking up the challenge positively. And we're seeing a lot of products now coming up in the local market, and they're doing pretty well.
The one thing you've said is research, and I really, really respond to that, because you know there are people who are passionate about hair, but you find that they're stuck in careers that they have no interest in because they don't know there's something like trichology. You can be a specialist in this field doing something else, but within something you love. So how did you make it work for you right here in Kenya? You know, because convincing someone to come pay money because they need to see a specialist, I don't think there's a lot of people who are willing to do that.
I look at what I do. I mean, what I've come to realize is that find something that you enjoy doing and do it so well that people will actually want to pay you for it. Mm. It takes time. When I started thinking about trichology and setting up a clinic to help people restore their hair, this was in 2009. I wrote my business plan in 2009, and I was writing it for myself. And when you're doing something, of course, it's not going to be easy. There is no excellence that is addressing a pressing human need that will fail unless you don't do it in the right way. So you need to identify what is the need, get knowledgeable in your subject. Make sure that you're very knowledgeable about it, because asking someone to spend so much money to come to see a consultant for hair, and you charge them a lot of money to see them, they charge you money to see them. Of course, it's not an easy thing. Telling someone that I can actually pull your hair follicles from one part of the scalp and plant them somewhere else, they're like, nah, you're kidding me. Yeah. Of course, there was a lot of backlash. I remember one day I did a video and posted it on YouTube, and guys were like, people have been to the moon. This guy is coming to con people and ask them why they think, why he thinks he can transplant hair. Why haven't they ever transplanted hair? And that is a mentality that we need to change as a society. We need to be more positive. We need to support people who come up with new ideas. Yeah. Yes, there are people who are copying others and all that. But we need, as a society, we need to start believing in our own. When you go to other countries, they are so proud of this is made in South Africa for South Africa. And I've seen the government trying to push such a thing for made in Kenya for Kenyans, and it's coming on pretty well. So, I mean, when you're starting something new, first you need to sell it to yourself and believe in it so much that people will actually believe that you know what you know that you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And definitely then people will come through, and that's how I started my business. Started very small. There were challenges, but I had to surround myself with people who told me the truth, not because they thought I wanted to hear it, but it was the right thing to do, and they challenged me to become better every day. And that is what you do when you have a new concept. Of course, it was tough. It's been now 7 years of practice, and it's looking very good.
Like, especially in Kenya, sometimes I even wonder if Kenyans actually like being Kenyans, because you know they're always eager to support international artists and be like, you know what, I like what this artist is doing, but they forget there's people who do the work behind them. That's why you find there's so many celebrities who actually had hair transplants that we may never actually know about. So my question is, how do you market yourself? Do you go to universities? Do you go to schools? Do you have seminars in order, like, how do you market yourself for success?
Honestly, I think we've not done a lot of marketing. We've done more of training. We've spoken to people in corporates. We have the biggest hair events, the two biggest hair events in East Africa. One is called the Afro Hair Awards, where we get thousands of hairdressers to participate in a competition every year. And we've partnered with other people like Centonomy, Safaricom, and we get these hairdressers not just to win an award after styling hair properly, but we get them an entrepreneurship course that they go for that for 14 weeks. So we're really trying to change the whole industry in the way it views itself, and just raise the standards to a level that will be respectable. Because the reason why consumers are now going to do avocado stuff in their houses is probably they do not have a lot of faith in the hairdressing system, and that is what we're trying to do. Secondly, we do another event called the Hair Raising Conference. Again, we get thousands of hairdressers involved. This is a conference that we do once every year, and we bring people from different parts of the world and many people from Kenya to speak to them about not just hairdressing, but the branding, the personal branding. How do you position yourself? How do you present yourself? How do you become better as a person in your subject? And that has grown very, very well in the last 5 years. But we've also done a lot of social media work. We are on social media as Hair Hub, Trichology Center. We're on Instagram, reaching the younger people. We're on Facebook, reaching the older people. We are not on Twitter. Yes, but we have a website, and we've done a lot of speaking engagement in corporates. We've done a lot of interviews with programs like yourself, just really to enlighten. And the reason why people are really scampering all over to come up with things, onion juice and stuff like that, rice water. Everybody is really just trying to get everything, because there hasn't been a lot of information around the industry. And this is not only in Kenya, this is a global issue. If I tell you the latest system of transplanting hair that we use today was only realized in 2000, in medical terms, that's a very recent time. The serious studies around the hair subject started happening in the 80s. And that's such a recent time. So it's only that we're a little bit behind the rest of the world, but I think we're catching up.
Yeah. So like you said, sometimes we are left behind because the world is moving on and we are trying to catch up. But here is what I'd like to know, because sometimes people argue the local products are there, but they're not affordable. So what would you suggest in terms of the government, in terms of us as the people? What should we do? Should we get rid of all the international products and make room for a competitive local market? Or what is it? What can be done to promote the industry for people in hair?
I honestly don't think curbing or stopping people from importing brands will make the market better. In fact, it might, monopoly sometimes will kill innovativeness. So you'd also want, if you want to compete globally, because it's not only about the Kenyan market. I want to put together a fantastic product here and export it. We've done a lot of studies with the type of clients we see here. And last year I was doing a presentation at a global platform in Toronto, Canada, about the things that we're seeing. So we should be able to get good products here and export them. But how will we do that if we don't know what is happening out there? So I think what the government really needs to do is support people who want to start the businesses here. Right now, if you start manufacturing a skincare or hair care product here locally, it's so tough. It's so difficult. I mean, the regulations, the cost of production, you really have to have so much muscle for you to start doing the production and getting good quality products. And if you're small, you do not want to put up a factory or something like that. If you go to someone and you want them to do contract manufacturing for you, they'll give you a crazy number of minimum order quantities that you cannot even meet if you're starting out. So I think the government needs to come up, and any stakeholder really, because the stakeholders should sit down and come up with ideas and present them to the government for policies to be put together. But we need to make the environment more conducive for young business people to make production a little bit cheaper. Right now, if you go to Turkey to do a hair transplant, it will be way so much cheaper than the way I can afford it, because my electricity is so expensive. Rent is crazy here. And if I'm competing with Turkey, then if the government wants me to employ more people, it has to find a way of making it a little bit more conducive for me to do business in this environment. And that is what we need to do. And just keep drumming the message that we have what we need in this country for people to get quality products, for people to get quality services. And those people, those of us who own businesses, then we need to make sure that we create a culture of quality service delivery. I mean, you travel, you go to other countries, not even in countries, in airports, and you see the way guys in duty free just serve you when you're walking to their shop. And you feel, wow, I'm getting value for my money. Sometimes you work in offices or in salons here in Kenya and somewhere else. What does it, the service really, and I think people want to have a proper experience. Our consumers and customers need to get a proper experience, and I challenge any business, big or small, to make sure that the people working in those businesses really get into a culture of proper customer experience.
Yeah. Okay. So someone might argue, like, wouldn't it be easier for you to do like consultations at hospitals? You know, I have a problem, I go to my doctor and I'm like, you know what, you need a hair transplant. So you're there maybe on Wednesdays and Fridays you're at Aga Khan, on Thursdays you're at Nairobi Hospital. Or was it important for you to set up a base because it was also very important for you to teach?
If you do the easy things in life, life will be hard. And if you do the hard things in life, life will be easy. I'm an hungry young man, and I had the picture in my mind of what I wanted to achieve. And what I wanted to achieve is not to be moving from one point to the other, because when I do a procedure on you, there is a follow-up that I need to do and to make sure that I succeed. And I'm not doing it because I simply want money. Money is good, it gives us options, but I'm doing it because I'm very passionate about it and I want to see the success. When I get reviews and my clients or my patients are very happy, I sleep much better that day. When I have a client whose results are not as good, then it really bothers me, and it pushes me to work a lot and find out what is it that I didn't do that I can do better to make sure that any other case that I do in future is going to be better than it was yesterday. So I started Hair Hub in 2013. And the idea was I wanted a complete service delivery where you come in, we do the consultation with the trichologist, they analyze the hair, they put you under the microscopes and they see what is happening, if they need to pull out your hair or they need to send blood works for analysis or pathological analysis of biopsies to get the proper diagnosis before we think about what is it that we need to do to restore your hair. Then from there, I needed to work with doctors. I have doctors in the clinic who can now do this. If it is a surgical procedure required, then we have the right team to do that. If it's an hair transplant that is required, then we put together a team to do that and have a proper follow through and then grow my own brand. Why should I fly on someone else's wings when I can create mine? Of course, when I started out there, quite a number of people came and said, we can partner, you have a bright future, we can put in money, you do not have the money. And I said, I believe what you're seeing in the business that is so small that makes you want to put in so much money is what I'm seeing that will make me not partner with you. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying, as you start small, you need to partner with the right people, partner with the right organization, make sure you're on the right side of the law, and surround yourself with people who will challenge you financially. Make sure that the people working in your environment are guided well by the HR policies. And boom, you make sure that then you have the business mind other than what you do, because so many people are so gifted with many different talents. But young people have not found out, how do I make money with this talent or this gift that God has given me?
So in 5 years, what drives you in business, and what do you see as the future for hair or the hair industry in Kenya?
I love excellence. I like seeing changing people's life and doing it in an excellent way. Of course, they taught us in school that practice makes it perfect, but I don't believe there is perfection. It's always practice makes improvement, because there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And I like pursuing excellence, and that is what I want to see for anyone I interact with and anyone who works around me. I want to impact lives positively. And for me to best, because the human beings who surround me, they believe when they see you succeeding. So if I will pass my message very effectively, it's by doing it and people see me succeed out of it. And the other thing is that I realized that the best revenge is massive success. When I started out, people said very negative things about me. I was bashed on the internet. You know what's going on with bullying in the internet.
Yeah.
And said a lot of bad things and negative things, and I said, you know what? I can't get on the internet and start responding to you, but I will show you by making sure I do the right thing and succeed massively. Yeah, and with the hair industry in Kenya, I think there's a lot of bright future coming through, and not because I hope, but because I'm doing something about it personally. And I've partnered with many other hairdressers that we do something.
So thank you so much for coming on to KT Life and Style. I mean, I hope to be paying a visit there soon for consultation. I have a few questions, but thank you so much, and I hope very, very soon we'll be talking and maybe even pay a visit, because I have learned a lot, and I hope this won't be the last conversation we have. Yes. So once again, thank you very much for joining.